Hello, welcome to Michael Chekhov's Continuous Acting. My name is Joe Herrera. I have been away for the past 2 weeks. The first week I was actually at a Michael Chekhov intensive. It's a theater institute that I go to every 6 months to work on my craft and also develop myself as a teacher. That's one of my primary goals, is to get certified teaching this beautiful technique through Michael Chekhov. And then the other week, my second week, I was actually on family vacation up in New York with my family. Nevertheless, we're back on the air, continuous acting, and I know I've received several comments from, I believe, various individuals from India, so I'm glad to see that. I'm happy to see that people are watching and from all over the world. Michael Chekhov is was an amazing teacher, and his spirit still lives on in his students and in his teachings. So my job is to simply radiate his energy, radiate his spirit, radiate his teachings to the world. So we're back on. Last time we left off, we were on episode 3, I believe, and we were discussing archetypal gestures. And we were exploring the why. We had discussed and explored the what, which was expansion, contraction. We've also explored the how, which was the 4 qualities of movement: molding, flowing, flying, radiating. I also will refer to them as MFFR. And now we're going to continue with archetypal gestures, exploring the why. So what I'm going to do today is go through the rest of the archetypal gestures, because there are at least 10. We've already done 2, which was the push and pull. So from this point on, what we're going to do lift, we're going to do smash, we're going to do gather, we're going to do throw, then we're going to do drag, reach, penetrate, and tear. So I may mix them up in various orders, but I'll explain each one as I'm going through them. I want you to remember, as we go through these archetypal gestures, that they are to be an archetypal gesture basically is an intentional movement with archetypal scope. So they are things that you weren't really taught. They were just intrinsic in us. And we know this to be true because when we go to Africa and we say the word hero, many of the Africans would either do a gesture with hands to the hips or hands up in the air, so it's either a very sturdy, will force type of character or a very uplifting type of character. But overall, it will be the same across the board. So that's why it's archetypal in scope. So let's get right to it. So remember, we are going to do beep, which is full body, full breath. We do 100% effort. The extreme polarity. So if the gesture is ending up to the front, then the extreme polarity to begin with, we start in the back. If it starts in the right, then we would start from the right and end to the left. If it starts from the top, then we start from the top and we have to end on the bottom. So those are the extreme polarities. So we want to find the polarities in these gestures. What else? Then we want to also pass, which is the P in beep. Pass is preparation, which means that it requires a inhalation, and we're also focusing on preparing the image. So that comes from the IAC, the Individual Artistic Center, as we stand in our individual artistic stance, and we have this aura around us, which is our energy body, our life body, and that life body is initiated by the IAC, and it does the movement. For instance, if we were doing push, then the energy body is going back. My physical body's following back. That's the preparation, the inhalation, and then the action, which is the actual push. And we push. That's the action. And then we hold that action, sustain. We sustain that action for 3 counts. Then we stop. Then we just do a sloppy, just stop, shake it off to reset. So beep, okay? And then we do that for all the other gestures. So let's start with lift. We did push and pull. Now we're going to do lift. So I'm going to move my chair here. And let's see here. Hopefully you can see. Come a little closer here. And so with lift, the energy, remember, it's all energy. So it's why we are expanding and why we're contracting. So with lift, I want you to lift, activating that will force. That's what these archetypal gestures are for. It's to get you going, to activate the intentions, the objectives, the will force of your body. Get you energized, charged up. And these are training tools for Michael Chekhov's most prominent tool, which is the psychological gesture. And we'll talk about that in the next coming weeks. So with lift, we end up going up, so we have to start in the extreme polarity. Center yourself with your IAC. Imagine that you have this great ball of light shining, and if you can't see the great ball of light, pretend that it's there, like Iron Man, that light that Iron Man has in his chest, and it's radiating and it's shining and it's filling your whole body, and now you have this whole aura around you. If you still can't see it, then pretend that it's there, that there's just this imaginary bubble around you. And then we start to lift. Take it off. Once again. Take it off. One last time. And shake it off. Now with the lift, again, it's using the hip area, the pelvic area, the legs and the feet to really lift from that area, really charge up your will force and lift from that area. You notice that I was lifting using my hands up, using the heels to really lift. When would you see a time that you're lifting in a scene? It could be that you're lifting yourself up, or you're lifting someone up. You're encouraging them. So that would then change the quality of the lift, correct? It would probably be a little more light, a little bit more encouraging. That's another synonym for lift, to encourage, to pick up. I want to pick you up. So these are synonyms. These are words that we can use, and we use this every single time. I'm going to go pick you up. I'm going to go pick you up. So let's say the word, I want to lift you up. Let's say that text as we're lifting. And we're going to do it unveiled. I want to lift you up. Shake it off. Do it again. Maybe change the tempo. Let's make it a little bit more sharp and staccato. I want to lift you up. Let's start staccato and end legato. I want to lift you up. Good. Once again, these are archetypal gestures simply activating the will force, which is down here, hip and down below. It activates the will force and get you into action. Because as actors, that's what we do. We act actions. The actions then stir up the feelings and the emotions and all that stuff that we like to do as actors. Next one is lift. The next one is smash. Smash. So with smash, it comes from the periphery to the center. So the energy is coming from the periphery, down here, up here rather, and then ends up in the center. Okay? So we're going to do that twice. I'm just showing you the forms so that you can practice at home. So you practice and observe and apply. So you practice the tool for a couple of minutes. You observe different objects around the house, maybe TV characters or even people out in the real world who are smashing characters or lifting characters. And then you apply it as you're doing your daily chores, whether you're smashing as you're vacuuming. So those are fun things to explore. So smash. IAC, center. IAC, center. Shake it off. Again, shake it off. Remember to pass. And shake it off. Once again, it's very important with archetypal gestures that you hold on to the image, that you really focus on the image. Let the body do what it's going to do as far as the action is concerned, whether it's smashing, lifting, pushing, pulling, but focus. Energy goes where your focus grows. That's something that Lisa Dalton constantly was drilling into me and really teaching me and honing that into me. Energy goes where focus grows, or it can be also said energy grows where focus goes. So what we want is our energy, the energy body, to grow, or we want all of our energy to go there as our focus really increases on that energy body or life body. So as we start to implement incrementally the veiling techniques to these tools, that would benefit us especially for if we want to tone it down for a stage play or for film or for TV. So smash once again. Now let's try a different smash. Let's try a synonym. Having a smashing time. What gesture can you do with having a smashing time? Again, center yourself in the IAC and let the impulse come from the IAC. Focus on the energy body and smashing time. So notice that this could be different for you. It's what your creative individuality is allowing you to see what the image is of having a smashing time. The primal form of smash is clasping your hands, coming back up here because the extreme polarity with the energy body doing the move first and then your physical body following it. Inhale, and on the exhale you do the action. That is the primary way to do the smash, archetypally. Then we can play around with synonyms and how that would change the basic form of the smash, or even the lift and the push and the pull. Next is, let's see, we have push, pull, lift, smash, gather. So now we're going to gather. Gather is it also can be called embrace, and gather has a very distinct energy. Focus on the IAC, center that IAC, center yourself. See your energy body, and allow your energy body to go and do the initial movement from the IAC and follow through. gather. Let's gather fast, a quick gather. See what that does. How the tempo changes the quality or the image. Quick gather. I get the image of a kid who's throwing a tantrum, or someone who's trying to snatch something, away from someone. Let's do a slow gather with a tilt of the head to the left, towards your heart. And shake that off. Good. Again, check in with yourself, fly back, ask yourself 3 questions overall. What I like about that, what would I do differently to make it better? And then what was my favorite moment? What were some of the sensations that you felt? What images were conjured up or evoked as you did that slow gather tilt to the left towards the heart? So those are things that you want to explore, okay? And remember, always focus on that energy body. It's the same shape as your regular body, but just a little bit bigger. And that energy body is very important because it's the image that you want to focus on. Now let's try a gather to the tilting the head to the right. Let's see what that does. And center yourself, IAC. Energy body, initiating the movement. Good. That for me evoked something that was sinister, not very suspicious, and something that was just and a lot of these things are neutral, so it can have a positive or a negative effect depending on your idiosyncratic ways of perceiving things. So these are things that you want to kind of monitor to see how you react to them, because you will use these later on in scenes and in auditions and what have you, and we will talk more about that as we go along the weeks. So now we have push, pull, lift, smash, gather. Now we have throw. So throw, these are again archetypal gestures that we see in everyday life. When we're throwing things away, we just throw it away, just throw. So we fling things out, we throw. So let's do a throw in a very archetypal manner, okay? And again, we beep it, full body, full breath, full effort, full extreme polarities, and pass. Prepare, action, sustain, and stop. Center yourself, IAC. Energy body. Good. And the form of that is, I'm going to slow it down just so you see the form. The form of that is, if I'm throwing forward, then the extreme polarity would be to go back. Energy body goes back. Physical body follows through. If I had more space, I would take a couple of steps forward and throw. So just for the sake of you seeing it here in camera, throw. So the energy would go straight through the arm, through the fingertips, straight, radiating out. You're seeing that energy being thrown into space. And then you sustain it and then you release. And then you can vary that throw. So let's say we throw both our hands. Okay, let's try that. Okay. And let's use a synonym of I want to throw it away. Okay? It's going to modify the archetypal primal form, but let's play with that. I want to throw it away. I want to throw it away. Throw it away. Just throw it away. You could see what my hands are doing. It's a throw. I'm throwing them away, throwing my hands away, throwing whatever I want away. And so these are emphatic gestures like this, that when we exaggerate these emphatic gestures, right, take it to the beep and the pass, I would have to come back here and bam. See, that would be the archetypal gesture of this emphatic gesture. And so we see this every single time. Like even this, what I'm doing right here, what am I doing? I'm doing my hands in a very circular motion. It could possibly be that I'm gathering, maybe. I'm gathering, and we just did gather, right? So I'm gathering, putting it together, gathering my thoughts, gathering everything together. And when we exaggerate these things, then we gather. See? And so we want to get to the archetypal gesture first so that we can see how we then can microsize those archetypal gestures in emphatic gestures. Okay? Now, so we have push, pull, lift, smash, gather, throw, penetrate, and tear. So let's do penetrate and tear. Penetrate. Penetrate. By the way, there are 6 primary archetypal gestures and 4 secondary. The 6 primary are push, pull, lift, smash, gather, and throw. Those are the 6 primary archetypal gestures. The next 4, which is penetrate, tear, drag, and reach, they have a combination. They are hybrids of these 6. So they have a combination of maybe a push or a pull or a lift or a smash into these last 4. So the first set of the last 4 is penetrate and tear. So let's do penetrate first. Remember, penetrate, I'm penetrating into. So I'm pushing. It has a push element to it. Okay? So I have to start from my polarity, which is the back space, into the front space. Center IAC, energy body. Push into, push, penetrate. And release. Sloppy release. Let it go. Once again. And just start to check in on yourself. What images are being evoked? What characters penetrate? Things like that. And this next penetrate, let's say I want to get into. Let's say that text as we're exhaling. By the way, the exhalation is synonymous with the dialogue or with the action. Because when we speak, we need to exhale. So that's why when the preparation is in the inhale, and then the delivery of our action or dialogue is in the exhale, in the exhalation. So that's why when we say our dialogue, we're saying it on the exhale. That's the action. So let's say the text I want to get into. I want to get into. And release. And again, you can change the tempos to play around with it, but for the archetypal scope, do it in moderate speed. Moderate speed is always ideal for archetypal, just so that you can get the archetype gesture in your body, and then you can modify and change the penetrate. So for instance, I can penetrate with my pointer finger, my right pointer finger. Sorry about that interruption. Okay, so we're doing penetrating, modifying the actual penetrating archetypal gesture. So I'm going to penetrate with my right pointer finger. I want to get into. Good. So you can penetrate through whatever point in your body. You can penetrate, let's penetrate with our chin. That'd be interesting. What does that do? How does that change things? I want to get into. See what that does. Again, there's no right or wrong. You know, you want to explore. This is about having fun, playing with the tools to see what unlimited possibilities can come up, what characterizations, what emotions, what sensations, things like that can really help your acting as you start to work on characters. So that was penetrate. The next is tear. Tear. Tear has a sense of being two poles. So penetrate had an element of pushing into it, right? But tear, and you can do tear in various ways. You can tear this way, you can tear down, you can tear sideways, you can tear one going up, one going down, like that. So for the sake of our purpose, we're going to do two tears. We're going to do one going this way and one going diagonal, okay? So let's try the going across. So we're going to start forward, out, forward first with the two tears. Remember, they're two pulls. Release. What images are stirred up as you do these? This is what you want to fly back every single time that you're doing them. Notice how I changed the tempo on that one, right? Just modification. Now let's do the diagonal tear, right? So we're starting from here and we end up here. Important thing about the diagonal tear is you want to use, as you're going down, you want to plie with your legs so you don't hurt your back. So we start up from the top. Again. And what images are stirred up, what emotions, what sensations are stirred up, characters, what scenarios are stirred up. So that's the tear. The last two are drag and a reach. So with drag, it's like a pull, but you're using the backspace. So the best way to demonstrate this, and I'm going to demonstrate it first using my profile. Again, center yourself in the IAC, focus on the energy body. It's going back first, because that's your starting point, and you're going to end up forward. Okay, that's how it looks like diagonally. I'm going to do it coming from back to front. Again, center, IAC, energy body, impulse from the IAC, going back, physical body follows through. Release. Again, this is muscular tension with the feeling of ease. And I know I had another commentator post on one of my videos, I think it was the push-pull video, wanting me to do a video on the four brothers of art, which are the feeling of beauty, feeling of ease, feeling of entirety, and feeling of form. And I will do that eventually, but I'm just trying to get through the series of archetypal gestures first. But a feeling of ease, basically it's even the most strenuous task, you do it with a feeling of lightness and ease. So it's still art. It's not like real life. Nothing we do on stage or on camera is like real life. It's truncated into 2 hours or an hour and a half of a span of life, and it's a heightened reality. So that was drag, okay? I want to drag. I want to drag. Okay? And you can start to play with veiling these as well. The last one of this series, the archetypal gestures, is reach. Reach is the stem of all archetypal gestures. If you don't know what archetypal gesture your character is doing, an archetypal gesture basically is, again, an intention, a movement with intention, an action with an intention. Hint, hint, hint. objectives. Instead of having verbal linear objectives, you can score your script with archetypal gestures. And we'll talk more a little bit about that. Not today, but eventually. So the reach is the stem cell of all archetypal gestures, because every archetypal gesture has a beginning point of reaching. Every character reaches for something, is trying to reach for something, someone, or something in life. So reach. Let's try that. IAC, that Iron Man light, or that S like Superman, beaming energy body around you, and reaching. You go to the back space first and then go forward. And stop. There you go. Once again, I'm going to say the text, I want to reach you. I want to reach you. Let me reach you. And stop. There you go. Again, exaggerate these movements. They're supposed to be big and broad to activate the body, charge up the body, let it be in the body, activate the will force. Once your will force is activated, then you can modify these into more emphatic gestures. Last week when I was at the intensive, we did a work in progress scene. We had to score the scene, and my scene was filled with different types of archetypal gestures. One of them I discovered through rehearsing with my scene partner was reaching for her. You know, he was, it's from the play Blithe Spirit, and it's the Act 3, Scene 1, and I was playing the character of Charles, and my scene partner, Kristen, was playing Elvira, his dead wife that's been dead for about 7 years. And he's already been remarried, so her being summoned up by a spiritist brought up a lot of chaos. But in this scene, he's over both his wives. His other wife died as well. And so in this one moment, in this one beat, I realized he was reaching for her. He was reaching for her. He says, "You didn't have to go. You didn't have to die." And so he says this as he's reaching for her. So as I was rehearsing, I exaggerated the movements every single time, and eventually it was in my body, so much so that all I had to do was just this. You didn't have to die. And the intensity of my reach was there. It was in my legs, it was in my hips, it was in my feet, it was in my fingertips, and people in the audience sensed that there was something going on. They didn't know what exactly it was, and they shouldn't know. I mean, that's just our actor's secret, you know, behind the scenes. But they saw that there was a commitment there involved with my character and the other character. And so that's what archetypal gestures do. Archetypal gestures is a training tool. Let me pull up my seat here. Archetypal gestures is basically they are a training tool, and you can deepen these exercises in various ways. Play with verbalizing the gesture to see if it increases or decreases the degree to which the gesture activates the will force. Remember, this is about activating your will force. So you may want to say, as you're lifting, "I want to lift," or "I am lifting" as you're lifting. Or you can try the line before, during, or after the gesture. Try thinking it without speaking it. So try to think the line and then do the action without speaking the line to see what happens. Compare the impact on yourself and then make note of it. Start journaling. You know, do the practice, observe, and apply. Ask yourself those 3 questions. Overall, what did I enjoy about what I did? What would I do differently? Would I speak the lines slowly, or would I change the tempo? What would I do differently? You know, would I focus on the energy body more if I didn't? And again, that's that double stuff, that Oreo cookie flyback double stuff. What would I do differently? What would I add to make it better, to make it tastier for me? And then the next layer, that other cookie layer, would be what was my favorite moment? What did I enjoy the most about this exercise, about using this tool? So that's what this is about. It's about activating the will force. You can try these gestures. You could try them in a monologue, unveil, then gradually veil them with one gesture all the way through. So let's say if you're doing to be or not to be, that is the question, Hamlet. And maybe you figure that Hamlet is trying to penetrate into this problem. And so you unveil it first. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles. Or maybe you want to change the gesture to pull after that. Or by opposing end them. To die. To sleep, a chance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. And so you start to see how the words are being influenced and impacted by the tool itself. Surrender the text, surrender the words of the scene or the monologue to the tool, and allow the tool to surprise you. Don't preconceive anything, don't pre-think anything, just allow it to be. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just shoot me a comment on this YouTube channel, and I will try to answer it to the best of my abilities. You could try the archetypal gestures, all 10 of them, one at a time, or various ones in a scene with your scene partner. Practice the scene. Each scene partner chooses a gesture. So let's say if your partner is a push and you're a pull, then as your partner's saying her dialogue, she's pushing, and you're saying your dialogue, you're pulling. And remember to beep it. Take full body, full breath, full effort, extreme polarities, and pass. Remember to stop. Even though it may feel choppy, but this is not about presentation. It's about getting the tool to influence your instrument, and seeing how the tool influences the way you deliver the lines, the way you speak the lines, the way you interact. And in the beginning, you're focusing more on your tool, on the practice of your tool, than your partner. Eventually, as you get better with the practice of the tool, then you could start to interact with each other, like have more of a in the moment type of thing. But in the beginning stages, this is about learning the tool. One of the things that Lisa also in the intensive, as a matter of fact, this is my second intensive, so I'm heading back out there again in the wintertime in Gainesville to complete my certification, is that these intensives, these workshops, or this type of video interaction, they're designed like a gym. I'm a trainer, and I'm teaching you. You come into my gymnasium, I'm teaching you how to use the equipment, how to use the tools. You're not going to know how to use them effectively in the beginning. And it may take some time before you master each tool, before you master each equipment. But eventually, you will master each equipment. And eventually, you'll get good at it. And eventually, your muscles in that area will develop. So try to make the connections with acting in that regard. Once again, this is Michael Chekhov's Continuous Acting, Joe Herrera. And next week, we will talk about emotional life of the character. We will discover different ways of how to evoke emotions in a very healthy and productive way. Remember, POA, practice, observe, apply. See you next week.